Urban land use and traffic congestion, mapping the interaction. 1*Ph.D. Candidate James Konyap, 2 Professor Dr. Marian Tokuda, 3 Professor Dr. Innocent Chirisa. 1 and 2 Department of Supply Chain Management, Chinua University of Technology, Zimbabwe. 3 Department of Demography Settlement and Development, University of Zimbabwe, Zimbabwe. Article info. Article history. Received October 25, 2020. Accepted December 15, 2020. Available online December 19, 2020. Keywords. Land use. Peak hour. Traffic congestion. Transport. Travel patterns. Travel behavior. Abstract. The interaction between transport, land uses, and travel patterns produce diverse transportation problems in urban cities, with traffic congestion as the most visible manifestation. Traffic congestion is a frequent phenomenon in most cities around the globe. This paper reviews the interaction between land use traffic congestion through published literature. The objective of this study is to encourage and provide researchers with future research directions in land use and traffic congestion. For this purpose, a systematic review was performed analyzing 45 articles from the year 2010 to 2020 using a descriptive approach. Subsequently, the results of the study shows that although the interaction between land use and traffic congestion have gained currency in developed countries, far less is known on this subject in developing parts of the world, though new evidence is steadily accumulating. Consequently, limitations of this work are presented. Opportunities are identified for future lines of research. Finally, the conclusion confirms the need for further research addressing the methodological concerns. 1. Introduction. The aim of this systematic review is to examine the recent literature on the interaction between land use and traffic congestion. Traffic congestion has become a ubiquitous problem worthy of policy attention and citizens alike. Uniyal and Gandhi, 2018. Shagholian and Garavayan, 2018. The rush hour has become a 2 or 3 hour peak period, and congestion recurs mornings, midday, mid-evening, and on weekends as well. Bandera, 2019. Shabar et al. 2014, argue that unplanned land use results in traffic congestion. Other scholars have asserted a connection between land use and traffic congestion in urban areas. Kalana et al. 2012, Kuzumyak, 2012, Mukherjee et al. 2014, Zhang et al. 2017. However, the magnitude and significance of a relationship between land use and congestion remains unclear. 2 major impediments to statistically sound, comparative studies of land use and congestion exist: a lack of good measures of congestion, and the difficulty in modeling the complex interrelationships between congestion, land use, and transport infrastructure. Wang, 2010. Traffic congestion is basically a comparison of the use of transportation systems with the capacity of the transportation system. In a way, land use affects traffic congestion in both dimensions. On the supply side, street network determines the number of lane miles in a given area, whereas on the demand side, different types of land uses will cause variation in travel behavior, such as travel frequency, length, and mode choice, which in turn influences the level of congestion. When et al. 2019, Ewing and Cervero, 2017. A sizable number of studies have investigated the impact of density development, compact or sprawl, on vehicle miles traveled, VMT, traffic volume, e.g. annual total traffic volume, and volume to capacity ratio, throughput, e.g. vehicles per hour, and average daily traffic per lane, travel time and speed, travel delay, and congestion indices, e.g. travel time index, and roadway congestion index. Cervero, 2013, Wilfred et al. 2015, Ewing et al. 2016, Gulhan and Silan, 2016, Angel Friat, 2015. Ewing and Bartholomew, 2018. However, these studies have reported mixed links between density and traffic congestion measures. In response to the new urbanism and compact city concepts, developments with diverse uses are strongly thought to maintain sustainability and reduce car dependency. Kuzuma Studi and Nicholson, 2017. There is relatively strong and significant empirical evidence that diversity reduces the individual VMT, Spears and Bornett, 2014, Cervero, 2016, Geyer and Quinn, 2018. A balance between jobs and housing might reduce the length of commute trips, thus reducing traffic congestion and air pollution. Scholars have been arguing that the reasons for the continued lengthening of commuting times and the marked deterioration of traffic conditions are results of the increasing job and housing imbalance in many metropolitan areas. Niedzielski et al. 2015, Zhang et al. 2017. A community is considered balanced when residential and employment distributions are approximately equal. Zhangping et al. 2014, Zhou and Long 2014, Masumai et al. 2018. Areas with diverse uses are found to significantly increase slow modes shares, increase walk mode choice for work trips. Tun et al. 2019, and non-work trips, Zhou and Li, 2016. The proximity of commercial centers to the residence location has a strong impact on increasing the walk mode share for non-work trips. Al-Qaidani, Situng and Muradpur, 2014. Regarding public transport, transit, similarly, empirical evidence is found in the literature about the positive impact of the land-use mixture in promoting the frequency and mode share of public transport. Numerous scholarly efforts have observed that walking distance and walking time are critical factors in determining mode choice, for example whether to use public transport or not. Ewing and Cervero, 2010, Wang, Chen and Su, 2016, Durand et al. 2016, Grice et al. 2019. A plethora of studies have investigated whether urban design increase or reduce traffic congestion. Ewing and Cervero, 2010. Household VMT could be significantly reduced with an increase in bicycle lane density or with an increase in intersection density. Littman, 2020. In contrast, residential areas with a high proportion of intersections are empirically found to provide a pedestrian-friendly land uses. These areas significantly increase the active transport trip frequency and increase the probability of the walk mode choice for work and other trips alike. Mackenbach and Chapman, 2016. Another body of research investigated the impact of destination accessibility on traffic congestion. Ewing and Cervero, 2010, Suzuki, Cervero and Lucci, 2013, Hazabun et al. 2014. A development toward a more sustainable transport system, as in increasing walking, cycling, and public transport, and decreasing car use, has been regarded as an important aim in the field of transportation research the last decades due to an array of reasons, including environmental issues and congestion. Latman, Olson and Freeman, 2018. Therefore, the objective of this literature review is to present current issues surrounding the interaction between land use and traffic congestion. For this purpose, a systematic literature review published from 2010 to 2020 is carried out. A systematic literature review was chosen due to its transparent and replicable characteristics, and its identification of research gaps and occurrence for further investigation. This review analyzes the literature from a descriptive standpoint, to assess advancement and emphasize the areas of further research required. Thus, this study aims to answer the question, what sort of a relationship exists between land use and traffic congestion? For this purpose, the present review is organized as follows. Section 2 presents the methodology followed by Section 3 which presents the results of the investigation. Section 4 presents the discussion of the topic, Section 5 presents the research gap, Section 6 presents limitations and future research and finally Section 7 presents a brief conclusion. 2. Methodology. To provide a vigorous review of literature we performed a systematic review on the relationship between land use and traffic congestion. The inclusion criteria were: I. Publications indexed in Elsevier, ScienceDirect, and JSTOR databases. 2. Publication date between 2010 and 2020. 3. Written in English. And 4. Particular search terms covered. Editorial material, books, or book chapters, technical reviews were excluded from our research. We employed the Systematic Review Data Repository, SRDR, a cutting-edge tool for extraction, administration, and inspection of data for our systematic review. Gathering and analyzing publicly accessible literature, we required no institutional ethics approval before initiating our research. During the period August 2019, we conducted a quantitative literature review of Elsevier, ScienceDirect, and JSTOR databases, with search terms including land use and traffic congestion. Out of 436 papers found, dated from 2010 to 2020, only 45 articles met the eligibility criteria. These articles were analyzed and classified according to different categories based on their characteristics. Descriptive analysis was adopted, and it included the geographical framework and research methodologies being used. Fig. 1 depicts the sequence of steps undertaken for this research methodology. Figure 1. Sequence of steps taken for this research methodology. 3. Results. The results comprise of descriptive analysis of the 45 articles. The descriptive analysis consists in identifying and classifying the articles by geographical framework and analysis of research methodology. 3.1 Analysis of articles by geographical framework. Table 1 shows the geographical framework of articles used to analyze the interaction of land use and traffic congestion. Table 1. Distribution of articles by geographical framework. Geographical framework total: Africa 1, America 20, Asia 11, Australia 4, Europe 9. The geographical distribution shows that the American continent dominates research on land use and traffic congestion. For instance, Wang, 2010, used a multidimensional approach to measure the impact of land use and traffic congestion in Florida. Kuzumyak, 2012, performed a detailed analysis of the relationships between higher density land use and traffic conditions in 4 Phoenix transportation corridors in United States. Using aggregated commute data from the American Community Survey, Gordon and Lee, 2013, found that job dispersion, rather than just density or population dispersion, is the critical factor for congestion and travel time. Ewing and Bartholomew, 2018, conducted a study in United States and found that compact, mixed-use development is inherently more efficient and sustainable, using less land and reducing private vehicle use rates by bringing people and activities closer together, and also providing densities that are capable of supporting walking and effective transit services. Adetunji, 2020, stated that as population increase, the number of automobiles, tricycles, and motorcycle also increase. Some notable studies conducted in Asia include a study conducted by Patel, Kini, Patel, and Chauhan, 2019, who evaluated traffic congestion using comparative land use pattern in Surat, India, and found that land use impact movement of traffic. Zhang et al. 2017, proposed a new method to describe, compare, and classify the traffic congestion points in Beijing, China, using the online map data, and further revealed the relationship between traffic congestion and land use. Shubho and Nima, 2014, observed that careless unplanned development of land uses in Dhaka, Bangladesh has resulted in perpetual traffic congestion along with pollution, thereby aggravating its sustainability. Mukherjee, Patel, and Krishna, 2014, carried a study to determine the effects of heterogeneity in land use distribution on traffic congestion in rapidly urbanizing Ranchi city, capital of Jharkhand state, India, and found that there is a positive relationship between heterogeneity in land use distribution and traffic congestion. There is paucity of studies on the research topic in the African continent. The only study obtained from the search was a study by Lake et al. 2011, who conducted a survey on the land use and pattern along Lagos-Badagry corridor, in Lagos Metropolis, Nigeria. 3.2 Analysis of research methodologies. This subsection presents a comprehensive analysis of the methodologies that were used to uncover the relationship between land use and traffic congestion. Although a consensus has been reached on the interaction of land use and traffic congestion, the magnitude and significance of a relationship between the two are still unclear, suggesting that there might be inconsistencies in the methods used to analyze this topic. The differences of conceptual model in previous studies are likely to generate contradictory results. For instance, land use is measured in different ways, Newman and Kenworthy, 2015, and so is congestion, Rao and Rao, 2012. Ewing, Tien, and Lyons, 2017, assert that no one has yet determined, using credible land use metrics and credible congestion data, the net effect of those countervailing forces on area-wide congestion. Raguset, 2012, citing Galster et al. 2001, posits that there are 8 dimensions of metropolitan structure, namely, density, continuity, concentration, clustering, centrality, nuclearity, mixed uses, and proximity. Hamid and Ewing, 2014, used the compactness/sprawl index metrics methodology to measure sprawl in 162 U.S. urbanized areas. Following the same logic, Sarzinski, Galster, and Stack, 2014, explored the multidimensional variations and changes in U.S. metropolitan land use patterns during the 1990s. Yeager and Schwick, 2014, have conducted analyses extending the time span considerably. They developed a weighted urban proliferation (WUP) metric to assess urban sprawl in Switzerland and present for the first time quantitative figures about the development of sprawl for an entire country over a time period of more than a century. Their method is suitable for studying changes in regional sprawl patterns over time and offers valuable tools for analyzing the changing nature of sprawl and urban development historically. Henning et al. 2015, and European Environmental Agency, 2016, used urban permeation, UP, and WUP as sprawl metrics for all European countries. Folade-Lou, 2020, notes that urban sprawl does not promote autodependency. Similarly, studies by Wisson et al. 2011, and Schwick et al. 2012, also capture changes in sprawl over time by focusing in Switzerland. Kutzinger et al. 2010, used a multidimensional conceptualization of land use proves to be an important improvement. Cervero, 2018, conducted a cross-sectional study design with structural equation modeling, SEM. Using compactness/sprawl metrics, they found that an increase in compactness reduces the amount of driving people do, but also concentrates the driving in smaller areas. Using data from 45 county-level urban areas of 2007 in the state of Florida, Wang, 2010, measured 12 indices of land use and 3 measures of traffic congestion, grouping them into 5 distinct factors and conducting bivariate analysis between variables. Kuzumyak, 2012, used volume to capacity ratio, V/C ratio, to measure congestion and density, diversity, and destinations to measure land use. In light of articles reviewed, it's clear that there is lack of consensus on the credible variables, congestion data used, population size and consideration for reverse causation and time lags. This lack of consensus suggests that further refinement of the models may be necessary, paying special attention to these methodological issues. 4. Discussions. This study conducts a literature review of articles on land use and traffic congestion, published from 2010 to 2020, in Elsevier, ScienceDirect and JSTOR databases. This research investigates the available literature under several constraints: time period, English language, 3 database sources, research and literature articles only with different variants on search keywords, and land use and traffic congestion emphasis. Furthermore, this research classes the extracted articles under different approaches: distribution of articles by geographical framework and research methodology and tools and techniques used for analysis. The results of these classifications have facilitated the discussion on current status and progress on traffic congestion and land use. Therefore, the key endings will be discussed, followed by the research gaps and future research opportunities. Policy makers, including transport planners and transport engineers, have become increasingly aware and interested in understanding the interaction between land use and traffic congestion. However, there is paucity of research on the research topic in developing countries. Out of 45 articles used for this study, the American continent had 44%, followed by Asia, 26%, Europe, 21%, and Australia, 8%, whereas African had less than 1% of the articles. The study also revealed that the United States have been the major contributor of land use and traffic congestion articles, followed by China, Bangladesh, Europe, and Nigeria. The study revealed that linear regression is the most used technique, 21 articles, followed by correlation analysis, 17 articles, and the least used approach is structural equation modeling, SEM, 7 articles. Ewing, Tien, and Lyons, 2017, used a cross-sectional study, regression analysis along with structural equation modeling. Kuzmiak, 2012, developed a set of regression models to quantify the effects of key land use variables on household vehicle ownership and VMT, illustrating the mitigating effects of higher density, better mix, and better transit accessibility. Density is the most commonly used measure of land use. From the articles used, 87% used density, design, and diversity in relation to traffic congestion. Wang, 2010, adapted the multidimensional approach to measure land use and traffic congestion. He obtained data obtained from 45 county-level urban areas as of 2007 in the state of Florida. In the conceptual model, he developed three congestion indicators: roadway capacity index, RCI, travel time index, and delay per capita, which were correlated with 12 land use measures, grouping urban form indices into 5 distinct factors, and conducting bivariate analyses between variables. Zhang, Sun, Yao, and Rong, 2017, used linear regression analysis to determine the influence of the high proportion of commercial land use on the traffic congestion. The findings show that there are studies on land use and traffic congestion in developing countries, particularly in Africa, are scarce. Furthermore, the study findings show that there are inconsistencies in the methods that were used to analyze the topic. 5. The research gaps. The current body of knowledge lacks empirical insights on the interaction between land use and traffic congestion in developing countries. There has been inadequate attention to and discussion on how land use influence traffic congestion in developing countries. However, a great amount of literature-based evidence on the research topic is abundant in developed countries, but findings from these studies have been refuted based on methodological concerns. For instance, a sizable number of scholars have focused on how density influenced traffic congestion, but the influence of other measures of land use, such as diversity, design, destination accessibility, and distance to transit, on traffic congestion is scarce. In addition, previous studies have used basic measures of traffic congestion and obtained varying results. For example, Kuzmiak, 2012, used volume capacity, V/C ratio, and found that there was considerably less congestion despite densities that were many times higher in 4 Phoenix transportation corridors in United States of America, while Zhang et al. 2017, used commute time and found that a reasonable ratio of land use could efficiently reduce traffic congestion. However, studies exploring the interaction between land use and traffic congestion using multidimensional approach are limited. Therefore, it is important to address the deficiencies exhibited by basic measures through the use of a multidimensional approach. 6. Limitations and future research. This section's present limitations and further research opportunities. The restriction of database access availability has limited the research and thus articles from other sources of primary importance on the interaction between land use and traffic congestion could have been excluded from processing. The keywords used may not be all-inclusive. The review was carried out on 45 articles, therefore, the exploration of more articles could broaden the conceptualization and knowledge of empirical research, and issues currently addressed regarding land use and traffic congestion. The land use dimensions that influence traffic congestion have not been studied in the same magnitude, particularly in developing countries. In addition, a plethora of research have not yet agreed on the proper methodology to use when examining the interaction between the two. Likewise, the current body of literature on the research topic can be criticized for lack of insight on the aspects that make a good congestion measure. For example, commute time computes travel time across different travel modes. ADT/lane and commute time are averaged numbers across time and space, while delay per capita is limited to peak hours and only for arterial and freeways. Therefore, it is important that research on the interaction between land use and traffic congestion evolve from these basic indicators and use multidimensional measures. Moreover, by increasing the number of articles, more specific topics can be analyzed and trends can be identified with greater precision. Furthermore, there is need to segregate empirical research for developed and developing countries due to intrinsic differences that may result in distinctive findings. 7. Conclusions. Research on the interaction between land use and traffic congestion in developing economies has begun and advanced in the last 2 decades, however it is still in its infancy when compared to research in developed countries. This study attempted to enrich the knowledge of the research field by carrying out a literature review of articles available on specific databases in the last decade. The undertaken different approaches, classification and analysis of the selected papers helped to provide and discuss outcomes on current research status. Although a consensus has been reached on the interaction of land use and traffic congestion, the magnitude and significance of a relationship between the two are still unclear, thus a critical knowledge gap that needs to be filled. The ongoing debate with regards to the significance of the relationship is intensified by inconsistencies in methodological approaches, lack of multidimensional measures for both land use and traffic congestion. Further research can be directed towards addressing these issues. It is also recommended to conduct a study on the topic in developing countries, as far less is known on this subject. Acknowledgement. This research did not receive any specific grant from funding agencies in the public, commercial, or not-for-profit sectors. Conflict of interests. The authors declare no conflict of interest. How to cite this article? Konyep, J. Tokuda, M. and Chirisa, I. 2021. Urban Land Use and Traffic Congestion, Mapping the Interaction. Journal of Contemporary Urban Affairs, 5, 1, 77-84. https://doi.org/10.25034/HQ.2021.v5n2-6